Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I take the floor this evening with a deep feeling of gratitude and relief. Gratitude to the people of Mauritius, who on the 10th of November of last year took their destiny in their own hands and chose this government to be the custodian of the future of this country. And I say relief, on a poussé un grand ouf. Tout le monde, on peut respirer maintenant. Parce que heureusement, nous avons pu convaincre la grande majorité des Mauriciens que notre patrie, que notre pays, que notre mode de vie, que notre unité étaient en danger mortel. Ils ont compris. J'allais dire que c'est mon ami Paul Béranger, le Deputy Prime Minister, qui avait coined this phrase. Il vient de le répéter là, que les Mauriciens sont un peuple admirable. Combien vrai. Nous avons prouvé que l'île Maurice est capable de réveiller. On dit merci, Maurice. Les Mauriciens ont compris qu'il fallait se rallier autour de l'alliance du changement et botter ces dictateurs aux petits pieds, hors du pouvoir. Ils avaient confisqué l'État mauricien. Tout ce que nous entendons, les autres ministres qui font le discours, tout a été détruit. State capture. Ils croyaient que la République de Maurice leur appartenait. C'était leur royaume et qu'ils pouvaient faire ce qu'ils voulaient. Ils ont agi. Mon ami Bagwan vient de dire la mafia sans masque. C'est vrai. Ils ont agi comme la mafia et sans masque. Et ils ont tout détruit, toutes les institutions. Aucune institution de notre pays ne pouvait opérer en toute indépendance. Ils avaient mis des chatois partout, aux ordres. Ils se sont même permis de s'ingérer dans le judiciaire, compromettant ainsi son indépendance et son impartialité. Madame la Présidente, aucun pays au monde, aucun pays ne peut progresser sans des institutions solides et indépendantes. Aucun pays. Madam Speaker, the government program is titled A Bridge to the Future. Because we want to lay the foundation, not only, as the Deputy Prime Minister rightly said, bring this country back on its feet, but we want to lay the foundation of a new Mauritius with a lasting legacy. We want to ensure that never again, never, our country has to go through what it went during the last 10 years. There is, as the Deputy Prime Minister rightly said, so much that we need to do, so much. They left the country in a state of depravity. 10 wasted years. And as he said, many people don't realize it. We have done a lot in the 3 months already. I don't want to go through the whole program that we presented. Each minister, each MP has spoken. But I want to highlight some of the measures. First, we have to save our democracy. We have to ensure that our democracy functions like a real democracy should. And there are 3 requirements, Madam Speaker, for a functioning democracy. First of all, you need to have individual liberty, free speech, and freedom of association. Second, you need to have free and fair elections. And third, you have to have the rule of law. Already people can see what a difference this parliament is. It is functioning with decorum. When I see the 2 members of the opposition protest, you wonder where were they? during the last 10 years, look at the way they treated members of the opposition. Personal attacks. I wasn't in Parliament, but I was attacked every week. However, we also need to consolidate our fundamental rights. We will be setting up a Constitutional Review Commission, which after consultation will make recommendations. Madam Speaker, the previous government, as we know, postponed local elections. Not once, not twice, 3 times. We will ensure that through an amendment to the Constitution that no government will ever be able to postpone local elections and deprive people of the right to choose their local representatives. We will also bring other amendments to better protect our fundamental rights, especially including our privacy rights. Already we have stopped this unwarranted decision to ask Mauritians to register the SIM card and to give the picture and their data and everything. All the database, Madam Speaker, that the previous government collected have been erased. We also are going to ensure that fundamental rights, further fundamental rights, are protected, relating to the environment, to technology, to health, to education, and so on. And we also want to ensure that elections are really free and fair. The great trick today is to call elections, commit electoral fraud, and say we won the election. Prior to the general elections, we had meetings with the Electoral Supervisory Commission and the Electoral Commissioner on the changes that we would wish to see. And we will have further discussions. But I can tell you already, Madam Speaker, that registration of electors will change. We wish, for example, in this, the new local elections, electors who turn 18 will be able to register to vote until at least 1 week after the writ of election is issued. Not like it is. You know how it is before the electoral list comes out, and then just off the next day you turn 18, you can't vote. For a whole year you can't vote. We will also make use of new technology to facilitate registration. The other thing that happened, we saw that especially in 2019, erasure of a voter's name from the registration list. This will have to stop. It will have to follow due process, and the voter whose name has been erased, or it is proposed to erase, must be informed officially that his name is about to be erased, and he can then decide whether he wants to go and see his name put back on the register. And we will give all the support that we need to the Electoral Supervisory Commission so that counting can start on the same evening after the election. It doesn't have to be. I have spoken to the Electoral Commissioner. I rechecked with him today, but we'll go and meet with him. I'm sure we'll have a team to meet them. If we give them the means, this outdated system of carrying the ballot boxes in lorries and keeping them overnight and then having people to watch, this will finish, stop, gone. We will also toughen the law on impersonation. No one should be allowed to impersonate another voter and vote in his or her place. It is not acceptable. A voter who waits patiently, and we see what Mauritians are like, they will not make a revolution. They will wait, as they did. They waited 5 years to boot them out. They will wait patiently for 5 years to exercise their democratic right. But you can't have a voter who has waited 5 years, comes to vote, and then he's told or she's told that her name is not there anymore, or somebody else has voted already in his or her name. This is a denial of a sacred right, which is guaranteed in our Constitution. It is the worst denial of one's democratic right, and it is an affront to democracy. We also intend to bring in an anti-defection law. I know it's not easy. It is complicated. It's going to be complicated. But it is not acceptable. Look at the other side. It is not acceptable that an elected candidate becomes an MP and then switches to the other side of the House after an election. This too is an affront to democracy. That member of parliament, he's free to want to switch sides, but he must go and face the electorate again before he does so. This is what we want. We will also include the right of recall. This is done, just now it's being done in the UK. There's an MP who has been condemned to prison. I think he's going to be recalled. We will also introduce legislation on the funding of political parties. We need also to increase the electoral expenses. Everyone agrees it is far, far too much. We will have wide consultations. We'll speak to experts to close all the possible loopholes to ensure that the will of the people is respected. We also said we will introduce electoral reform with a dose of proportional representation. It is a fair system. Every vote will then count. It is more democratic, and we will also ensure by this system that honorable ladies will like to hear this, that there will be more women represented in our parliament. This is the way. Madam Speaker, before the 2014 elections, our partner now, Resistance and Alternative, they were not allowed to field candidates because they were refusing to declare their community. Even though for the 2014 elections, they were opposed to us, the Labour Party and the MMM. But being Democrats, the leadership of the two parties agreed for a temporary amendment to do away with the requirement to declare one's community and to be able to stand in elections. They stood in election against us, but this is what democracy is about. We will now make this amendment permanent. Nobody, no Mauritian will have to declare his or her community when they stand for an election, ever. Madam Speaker, as I said, I cannot go on every detail of the program, but the crux of the matter is we want to guarantee free and fair elections. And we want any Mauritian who wants to stand as a candidate not to have to declare to what community he belongs. Madam Speaker, another point which the Attorney General rightly pointed out, in 1998, I had asked for a presidential commission to be chaired by former United Kingdom Lord Chancellor. It's no mean feat, Lord Mackay, to examine and report on the structure and operation of the judicial system and the legal professions. That is also important. I should perhaps add that when I was studying law at the LSE, Lord Mackay came to give us lectures. And he was, at the time, he was the first Lord Chancellor who made major reforms in the judiciary in the UK. Major. And one of his proposals was the creation of a Court of Appeal. The Attorney General, I think, explained this very well. There will be a separate Court of Appeal. It will include both local and foreign judges, as is the case in Singapore, as is the case in Dubai. That is the best way if you want to bring up standards. We will also create a commercial court, again with both local and foreign judges. That will go hand in, there's a globality, there's a vision. This will go hand in hand with the arbitration center, which I opened in Mauritius with the help of people in The Hague. Exceptionally, they sent a representative. We are the only country which had a representative of The Hague in our arbitration center. When we lost the election, they allowed the arbitration center to actually not do anything. They even had the temerity of objecting to arbitration results which they had agreed to. The whole point of an arbitration is that it is designed quickly, there is no interference from politicians, and you accept the result of the arbitration. This is not what they did. This will go hand in hand with what I just mentioned, the commercial code. Because, Madam Speaker, if you want to attract investors, foreign investors, and we need to give a boost to our financial sector, you must assure them, these foreign investors, that they're investing, that if ever there is a dispute, it will be resolved quickly and without any interference from politicians, and that the rule of law will prevail. It's extremely important. No investor worth his salt will invest in a country when he doesn't get this assurance that the rule of law will prevail and that the cases will be dealt promptly. Madam Speaker, we also intend to amend the Constitution to strengthen the powers of the DPP, as we said during the campaign. We have witnessed what happened to the former DPP. They tried even to arrest him. He had to run away from the back door of his home and go to, say, judge in chamber to get protection. The DPP, the actual DPP also was mistreated. The previous regime wanted to have the DPP under his thumb. They would control him, circumvent his powers, and they brought in this notorious prosecution commission to do just that. And, Madam Speaker, the previous CP, Commissioner of Police, Monsieur Gel, he went to the unbelievable, unprecedented length to challenging the constitutional powers of the DPP in court. Never happened before. Therefore, to make matters clear, absolutely clear, we are in the process of consolidating the powers of the DPP as we had promised. We have already brought, the Attorney General has already brought amendments to the Financial Crimes Commission and is bringing, and to the Bail Act. We will repeal the Financial Crimes Commission and create a new National Crime Agency. That crime agency, we have seen in the past how investigations are deliberately done wrongly, leakages, and then you say nothing happens. This time, no. This National Crime Agency will have crack top investigators. They will know how to work because they've done it in the past in different countries. We will have officers, local, but assisted by foreign investigators, sorry. And we will have a national prosecution service, which will be under the DPP. Because we want prosecution to be on one side and investigation to be on the other side, not as it is now. At the same time, we will reintroduce. I brought it to the House. But it didn't go through because we called an election. The Police and Criminal Evidence Act. I'm the one who bought it. And it will mean arresting and interviewing suspects will be done in a methodological way. It will protect the suspect. It will also protect the police who are interviewing. As the Deputy Prime Minister also said, ADSU has been revamped. It is now functioning as it should. You know, the Commissioner of Police, the actual Commissioner of Police, headed the ADSU. He knows. He brought results when I was Prime Minister. And now he's overlooking it. But we will also set up a national drug policy monitoring and coordinating agency. With as chairperson, Mr. Sam Lutan, I think you mentioned. And also he will be, the executive director will be a doctor who knows, Dr. Suleiman, who knows about all these problems. Mr. Sam Lutan will be like a new drug czar. But he will be at the PMO. To be able to supervise, we will supervise everything concerned with drug trafficking. As the Deputy Prime Minister rightly said, Where are you've heard of the drug barons now? We must consolidate the law as well. Et nous serons intransigeants envers les barons de la drogue. While we also have to concentrate on rehabilitation, because they're victims also. You've seen how in the last election, the baron de la drogue was given a flight in business class. This won't happen with us. We have already started action to restore trust in the police force. The police, first of all, they need to be trained properly, but they also have to have the means to carry out their duties. Now you go to a police station, when they were there, we're changing this. Somebody rings, they'll say, we don't have any transport. Or there's only 2 policemen there, one is half drunk. This has happened in the past. We will change all this. There will be a police training academy, and there will be continuous learning opportunities to them. And also, Madam Speaker, every police officer, it cannot be that a police officer becomes a sergeant, and then he stays as a sergeant maybe for 20 years. Why? Because some politician doesn't like his face or thinks he's this and that. A police officer must have a clear career path based on performance and meritocracy, not on who he was with or whatever. The promotion should not depend on politicians. Now, Madam Speaker, we are well aware of the disastrous economic situation we have inherited. I was also laughing when the leader of the opposition said what he said. We have presented the state of the economy to the House, and you have to laugh because they said he was saying that they made an economic miracle. Mirage économique plutôt. Naufrage économique. There has never, as the Deputy Prime Minister just said, there has never been in this country, I've never seen it, such mismanagement of the economy, gross mismanagement. And that coupled with corruption. We know what they've been good at taking money. I'll give you an example, Madam Speaker. Would you believe, on the 8th of November, the election was on the 10th. On the 8th of November, they went and bid joint venture with 2 companies, I better not mention them here, for the Central Electricity Board. You know to what tune? One to the tune of 21,956,957 plus 78 cents, CB, 2 days before the election. That roughly comes to 140 billion rupees. The other one, 23,208,688.95. 83 billion rupees. Mr. There? 2 jours avant les élections. 2 jours, le 8 novembre. Voilà ce qu'ils ont fait. We will look at this. Had it not been for this government's commitment to put order in the finances of the country, Madam Speaker, Moody's would have certainly downgraded our sovereign rating from investment grade to junk grade. And when you become junk, no investor will come and invest. Junk means it is unlikely that you will pay your debts. That is what junk status means. So this would have been catastrophic for Mauritius. It would have seriously undermined our ability to put the economy back on the rails. The task, as the Deputy Prime Minister rightly said, and it's true, that is why I kept the Minister of Finance. Already the Prime Minister's office is plenty of work. But we need to act responsibly and take the measures that need to be taken. We need to put the country back on its feet. The forthcoming budget exercise will reflect that determination, I can assure the House. We intend to inject a higher dose of performance-based budgeting as we prepare for the budget of this 2025-2026. And we have to cut waste. We just have to look at the Director Body's report. It speaks volumes. And we didn't speak about our speeches, but he said the same thing. All unnecessary and doubtful projects and programs will be discontinued. We have to put the economy back on the rail. We cannot and should not spend money that we don't have. Look at the rate of the deficit and the debt that we have at the moment. The focus will be on more effective achievements and outcomes. Madam Speaker, we are at a defining moment in the history of our country. A moment that calls for a total reconstruction of our nation. We cannot carry on with the model of the past, geared for the needs of yesterday. We want to foster a system with an inbuilt transformational purpose to meet the challenges of the world, which is already in a state of flux. Our ambition is to evolve into an innovative and inclusive society, underpinned by prosperity, solidarity, unity, and it has to be sustained, where justice and meritocracy will prevail. The challenges we are facing, we cannot deny it, are daunting, but I'm confident that we will overcome our predicament, provided we take the measures, we don't shy away from taking measures that need to be taken. Economics is never statistic, it's not fixed, it changes. It is not a zero-sum game. But we must redynamize our economy. We must increase productivity. We have to look at the new poles of development, blue economy, climate change. The Deputy Prime Minister mentioned what happened with Seychelles. I don't think I mentioned it to him. We were about to go to the UN to sort the differences out. And going to the UN meant waiting for 10 years, maybe more. All sorts of maps and graphs have to be sorted out. I rang the president of Seychelles at the time, President Michel, and I told him we can't. We're neighbors, we're going to go to the UN and fight it out. Let's come to an agreement. And he agreed. Some people in his own government were a bit annoyed with him that he had agreed. But he said he had given his word to the Prime Minister of Mauritius, he won't change. And this is how it happened. But we have to develop what we have. I say to myself, thank heavens, Madam Speaker, that this new government has been elected. Otherwise, God knows what would have happened to this country. Nous aurons témoigné aujourd'hui l'effondrement de notre pays. That would have been the result. We have a difficult task ahead, as we always say. That is why young people want to leave the country. Cette jeunesse qui refuse toutes les formes de discrimination. Cette jeunesse qui veut voir prévaloir la méritocratie. Cette jeunesse qui veut sauver notre planète. We have to make sure that they come back to Mauritius. We have there is no magic bullet, difficult task ahead. J'ai toujours dit, je n'ai pas de baguette magique pour faire surgir une nouvelle société tout d'un coup. But we have the team. We have the team and the determination. We have a dream team. I kept saying this. Even before the elections, I was saying it is a dream team. A competent team with experience and determination and a sense of justice. After all, we're all socialists. The two parties here, we are members of the Socialist International. We started our fight by fighting for the people who didn't have any rights. Our creation was in the opposition, not like the MSM in government. We fought our way. And this is what we intend to do. I'm confident we shall overcome all of the difficulties that we have. We will build this bridge to the future. As the Deputy Prime Minister said, we have already put a mechanism to make sure that the measures are implemented as spelled out in the program. There's a steering committee at my office and a delivery unit which will check, we will recheck, as he said. We will also have special cabinet meetings if need be, because we need to ensure that things get done. It will be long and arduous, as I said, not easy, but as I said, we have the team. Let me end with these words, Madam Speaker. Words from the former Secretary General of the United Nations, Dag Hammarskjöld, who was killed in a plane accident. God knows whether it was an accident or not. But this is what he said, and I said the same thing. I don't promise to take you to heaven, but I shall certainly prevent you from going to hell. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Prime Minister.